This podcast is a recording of a live stream event that happened on October 8th, 2024. Sit back and relax as you enjoy the conversation between myself, Paddy, aka Mounjaro Paddy on Instagram and TikTok, along with Belinda from Ozempic Insights on TikTok and Instagram, as we talk about our journeys with Ozempic and Mounjaro. A reminder also that none of this conversation should be taken as medical advice for you. Before starting or changing any medical or wellness treatment, always consult your GP and medical care team. And hello folks, we are live. Hey Belinda.
Oh my god, hello Paddy.
We made it work.
That was so easy.
I tell you, I have this phone like way too near me, so
I know.
I didn't realise it.
I'm just gonna sort mine out as well. 1 second.
Yeah, bear with us folks. This is my first. This is our first time ever going live on Instagram. Even on my other Instagram page where I've like, I don't know, nearly 4,500, I've never gone live on it.
I thought you had.
No, I've only gone live on TikTok. I've never gone live on Instagram.
Okay. We're doing well.
Yeah, also, Belinda, you made an effort. I didn't.
No, Paddy, I just took my hair out of a ponytail. That's all I did.
Okay, I did that too. So now I want to figure out, how do we see the comments and stuff when they're coming in? Okay, so I can see some here, folks. So bear with us, because it's our first time.
Yeah.
This is actually the first time me and Belinda ever spoke together face to face.
Oh no, hang on. Remember we did something with Yes, we did. We did
actually,
a webinar, didn't we? With
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Actually. Well, I was unintentionally invited to that thing. That's it. Like in terms of talking, I was just an attendee, and then it was like,
you kind of got into it then. Yeah. It was good though.
Yeah, it was. So, folks, you're very welcome. Hello, everyone that has put the comments in so far. I am reading them all there. Really, really appreciate them. So, Belinda, ladies first, would you like to do an introduction?
Yes. Oh my goodness! Look at all these people. Thanks for joining. Brilliant. So Belinda of Ozempic Insights. I have been on Ozempic / Mounjaro for 2 years exactly this month. Yeah, September, so last month. I spent just over a year and a half on Ozempic, and so far I am down just over 5 stone with that. So
amazing. Take a bow.
I love it.
5 stone.
So good. Yeah.
Take a little bow.
Thank you very much.
Yes, indeed. Well done.
So kind of, I suppose my background, Paddy, would have been just food anxiety, secret eating, binge eating, all of the above. Never even realized that I had any of those things until I went on Ozempic, and it all went away.
Yeah.
And that was like, to me it was phenomenal, and I'll never ever get used to the fact that I don't have those things anymore.
Yeah.
And I never intend to have them again, because I really don't intend coming off this medication. I really don't.
And I think that would be something for us to get to talk about, because I think that's a whole thing that's a regular conversation for people. So in terms of and folks, I am seeing all the comments that are coming in there. So someone asked how much is that in pounds? That's about £60, Belinda, is that right?
What's that? 63, I think now.
63, yeah. So just over Pratham was asking there. So there you go. Lots of congratulations and thumbs up for Belinda as well. Fantastic. So Belinda, like before you discovered, I guess, Ozempic and stuff like that, what other things had you tried in terms of trying to lose weight?
So I suppose I would have spent most of my life in and out of the slimming rooms. I'm sure everyone's familiar with all of those. I would have failed at every one of them. Yeah. I would have felt absolutely horrendous every single time I went into a room and I was made to stand on a scales and I was up or I didn't lose anything, but oh God, just even the thoughts of it now, Paddy, like it gives me a trauma. And having to sit there in a room of 30 women and say out loud what you hadn't done or you had done, and what you did eat and what you didn't eat. And I think that it just, all of that just added to the stress and the anxiety around food.
Yeah.
I think most of my bad eating habits stemmed from there, and I think they are the worst things anyone could join. I really do. I think they're just dreadful.
Yeah, I think like the worst thing I think I've ever done was a program that included a very low calorie diet consistently, where you did not eat more than 600 calories a day, any day, and you lived off 4 food sachets that were essentially 125 calorie powders that you made up and you ate. And I was wondering,
I've done that, but I blocked it all out.
yeah, and I was wondering, like, why am I feeling faint-headed? Why am I feeling light? Why can't I exercise? Like, because again, I was believing everything that was told me. Now, interestingly, I've had mixed experiences of the slimming groups and stuff like that. The first time I joined one, I would have been in my early 20s, and I gained weight doing it, and I never went back to that one. Then I went to a different one that had different things, where you had saints and sinners, shall we say. And now I have to say there, I was very lucky in terms of, I think, the leader of the group that I was in, who was so compassionate and human focused and celebratory and encouraging. So in that particular group with that leader, I had such a phenomenal experience. And I had actually rejoined that group a couple of times, purely because I just loved the leader so much. And that supportive, and that supportive thing that I got from that leader specifically. And it was very unique to that leader. And I had actually rejoined that back in May of this year.
This year? Oh, wow. Of course, I keep forgetting you're so new to this.
Yes. So I only started on Mounjaro in June. I was at a wedding on the 14th of June, and I came home that night and I was like, right, it's midnight. So if I take it at midnight, my injection date could be Friday, it could be Saturday. That's the way I was thinking about it. So I said, I'm going to take my first dose, and that's when I took it. My logic was, I'm going to take it before I go to bed. If I have any side effects, I'll sleep through it, hopefully.
That's what I
and
did.
then I'll have the weekend to kind of see how I am before kind of the week kicking off and that. But like yourself, you name any diet or plan or anything under the sun, and I have tried it over the years.
You've gone into it, you've joined it, you've done it. I think the worst I was in was Lipotrim.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I did that when I lived in the UK for a while. But I will say the most weight that I ever lost was when I went on the ketogenic diet. I think I lost around about this much weight as well, but it was completely and utterly unsustainable. You know? And I was so into it for about a year and a half. I made it my whole personality. I'm probably making Ozempic my own personality now as well. But
no, I know what you mean.
It's a very different experience.
So I'm going to just try and flick through some of the questions, because some of these I think we're going to get through anyway, as opposed to needing to answer right now. Daniela is asking, how long can you stay in it? I started on Wegovy in April. So for anyone that doesn't know, Wegovy is Ozempic under a different label. Like, it's the exact same thing in the vial, only one is marketed predominantly on label for diabetes. Off label, Ozempic is also used for obesity management. But then there's also Wegovy, which isn't yet available in Ireland. But the difference with Wegovy is also that it goes up to a stronger dose than the Ozempic pens go up to.
Quickly, Paddy, is a Wegovy, is that off label?
No.
For weight? No, is on it. It's in.
So Wegovy is the on-label prescribed name for Ozempic when it is prescribed as weight loss, but under the Wegovy brand. So that's why a lot of pharmacies, like even one when I queried, first of all, when I went to, I was like, oh, hey, do you do Wegovy? And they're like, oh, well, actually, we stock Ozempic, so that's what we'd give you if you were prescribed Wegovy. It's the same thing. Essentially, it's the exact same medication in the pen. It's the exact same thing. The only thing that's different is the sticker and the box, essentially. But Daniela is saying lost 2.5 stone. Daniela, amazing. phenomenal. And Daniel saying, well done, Belinda, on your weight loss. Is Mounjaro available in the Republic of Ireland yet? We'll have a whole conversation about that. Stay with
Yeah.
us, okay? Just seeing, is there any other comments then, just to catch us up? Can you describe what a slimming room is?
Without
Naming
saying, naming them, it's where you go, you join a slimming group and you sit in a room with 30 other people and you follow a plan and you have sins and things you should and shouldn't eat, and you have a load of free foods, like unlimited amount of pasta, unlimited amount of rice, potatoes, of course, and you get weighed in front of everybody every single week in awful trauma. Yeah, cool. That's what it is. Yeah.
Can you talk a little about side effects in food groups? I'm on Ozempic approximately 7 weeks and have recurring diarrhea. Also struggle to eat in full calories. Cool. Okay, so let's get into the different medications. So if you want to kick off, maybe because you're the expert way more than me on all things Ozempic, if you maybe want to give an intro to Ozempic, the doses, how long you think you can stay on it, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So I'll start by saying that I was on Ozempic for just over 1.5 years. I started on 0.25 milligrams. You have to start on that starting dose. It's a very strong medication, and that dose is so you do not get sick. You have to titrate up to 1 milligram. So you'll go through from 0.25 milligrams for 4 weeks, 0.5 milligrams for 4 weeks. Is there a 0.75? I'm not sure. I think there might be, but then you go on to 1 milligram. Now, 1 milligram is considered the top dose that you can get, because it only comes in a 1 milligram pen, unlike all of the other medications. But you can purchase another pen at your own cost, and you can go up to 2 milligrams if you want to, or 1.5, but it's a really strong drug, and the side effects can be quite bad, severe on it. I think like you were just saying there, that girl was saying, like, you can get chronic diarrhea where you can't leave the house for days on end. You would have sulfur burps, you would have dizzy spells, but there is a lot of scaremongering out there as well around side effects.
Yeah.
I only had them when I started, and then it tapered off, and then I never seen them again. Even when I changed over to Mounjaro up to a higher dose, I didn't get any side effects.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and the thing and this is one of the differences that you'll see between Ozempic and Wegovy specifically, and this is why a lot of people are interested in Wegovy. Okay, so as we know, there have been supply issues with Ozempic, and let's call out that has nothing to do whatsoever with the fact that some endocrinologists and doctors are supporting their clients and patients who have suffered with the disease of chronic obesity. They're supporting them with Ozempic, and that is not why there's a shortage of it. There is a shortage of it due to the manufacturer and them not making enough of it. That is essentially the problem. But if you look at Wegovy, so the way that I've brought up here, so anything that I'm saying, if I'm talking about it, I've brought up here on screen to make sure that it's accurate, folks. It's not just
you're so good, Paddy.
Okay.
I have nothing.
Yeah, that's fine. Look, I'm here like. So with Wegovy, so bear in mind, Wegovy is Ozempic just under a different pen. Exact same medication inside. So Wegovy, and this was a lot of interest in it. So you start on your 0.25 for 4 weeks. You go up to your 0.5 then for the next 4. Then you go to your 1. Then you can go up to a 1.7 pen. And then its top pen is 2.4.
Oh.
Because it's been done specifically for weight management, it goes up to a stronger dose than the Ozempic pens do. So that's why a lot of people are interested in the Wegovy and when it might be available in particular, because in the one pen, you can get the higher dose.
Yeah. But again, not available in Ireland.
No. Not available in Ireland. Not available in Ireland at the moment. So, which is unfortunate.
Will you talk about Mounjaro then?
Yeah. So Mounjaro.
You know what, Paddy? You start from the beginning with Mounjaro because I started with the Ozempic. So let's get your insight into that.
Yeah. So Mounjaro. I was meeting with my prescribing doctor, and I kind of went in having done a huge amount of research in relation to Ozempic, Saxenda, and I know there's questions about Saxenda, which I'll touch on in a sec as well, and Mounjaro, to try and see, what was the difference between them. I didn't know a huge amount about the GLP1 medications, which is what these all are. So I spent weeks and weeks researching them, looking at videos, trying to look at the guidance from Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly that make Ozempic and that make Mounjaro. And I kind of thought where I landed on was, given the cost factor, I wanted to start out on what was probably going to give me the highest chance of success. And at that moment in time, that was Mounjaro. So I went in and had that discussion with the doctor, and the doctor was like, hey, but what about Ozempic? Would it not be better to start on that? And then if it doesn't work, you can move to Mounjaro like in 3 or 4 months. And I said, you know what, to be honest, I get your point, but I don't want to have spent the guts of
€500
easily before we figure out if this is working. I'd like to start on what is going to be more effective for me, unless there's a medical reason why you think I should not start on this medication, and that I should start on Ozempic. I will absolutely trust your opinion, no problem whatsoever. And they said, no, there's no medical reason at all. So they're like, if you think lifestyle wise, and then they're like, what about Saxenda? And I say, I know somebody's asked about Saxenda. The difference with Saxenda and Ozempic and Mounjaro, first of all, is it's a daily injection. They all work the same way, but Saxenda is a daily injection. And I didn't
know that.
Yeah,
wow.
I don't want to be going around having to do like a daily injection, essentially. So we decided on Mounjaro. I say, took my first injection on the Friday night before I went to bed. And what I'm about to say is not the norm for most people. And this should not be your expectation if you're starting on Mounjaro. And it's really important that I call that out, because people get an awful lot of inaccurate expectations when they're starting out. So when you start out, the same as what Belinda said about Ozempic, you start on a very low dose, which is the 2.5 milligram for Mounjaro. That is your starting dose. And the intent of that is that it literally just introducing your body to, hey, there's a new medication coming your way, body. Get ready for it. It is not intended as a therapeutic dose, as we say, i.e. it's not intended to dull the appetite, to make you lose the weight, all that. That's not the intended thing of it. However, yes, some people do get those side effects, and I was one of them. That first day, I could not even look at food. I was gobsmacked. I was about halfway through the day, and I remember I was driving up to the beach, and I bought a flapjack. I was like, I haven't eaten today. So I went and bought a protein flapjack, and I took a nibble off the corner, and I was like, I just can't eat this.
Did you feel overwhelmed by that? Were you able to sit with that and think to yourself, is this the first time in my life that I have felt like this?
Yeah, I sat there for, I would say, well, it was in the car, like, as I was driving for the next half an hour, and then I was like, okay, is this a placebo effect? Is this me just thinking I'm not hungry, or am I really not hungry? And that continued for the next first 2 weeks of Mounjaro, because I was like,
guessing yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thinking, am I making myself think I'm not hungry?
Yeah.
But then it's like,
effect.
But then it's like, no, actually, physically, I'm not hungry.
Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah. So that was the middle of June. So I've kind of titrated up through the various doses. And
so you're going into your 5th month now, is that right, Paddy?
I am going into, I will tell you right now, I have a little tracker that I keep that has...
Of course you do.
Because I like to keep track of it. But so I think it's like, week 15. It could be longer, it could be 16. Yeah, so I have 4 months done on it.
Yeah, you're going into your 5th, are you?
Yeah.
And the next big question everybody wants to know is, how much weight have you lost?
Okay, so it's 115 days since I started.
Right, lovely.
So in that 115 days, I have lost 47 pounds. And before, like I was saying, for a couple of weeks before that, I had been trying to make an effort myself. So since the kind of middle end of May, my total is actually 60 pounds. So
brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. That's phenomenal,
So
isn't it?
yeah, it
Like
is.
you just don't know
I
yourself,
know,
you know?
like you almost kind of where I am now, I kind of forget, and I'll go to pick out clothes, and I'm like, oh, that's too big
Oh
for me.
yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, but I really like that top.
Paddy, I ordered a size 24 jumper the other day off Shein. Size 24, because that's the size I wore for so long.
Yeah, like it's
Yeah,
mad. It's the
yeah.
brain definitely takes a while to carry on.
Thinking.
Someone says, what dose of Mounjaro are you both on? How long are you planning to stay on that level, if not at the highest level already? So I guess what I'd say is the way that it works is that you can titrate up every 4 weeks. You can stay on a dose for longer if it's working for you. The idea with all medicine is obviously that you want a patient on the lowest dose that is going to give them that therapeutic effect. Like any doctor will kind of tell you that. So yeah, so basically that's what you want, is that you're kind of looking at the end of each month, okay, where am I? Do I get an effect from that? So like a lot of people, they will move up after 4 weeks because 2.5, as I said, it's not intended as that therapeutic dose. You will hear some exceptions. I actually wish I stayed on 2.5 longer.
Because you
So
were getting,
I was getting it. And I was just
but you
going
just
by what,
do.
yeah, I was just going by what I saw on social media, and everyone was moving up like after 4 weeks, and
Yeah.
that's what I saw from the manufacturer. And all. I was like, oh, I have to move up after 4 weeks, whereas you actually don't. So, like, if you're on, talk to your doctor. So that's what I'm saying. Everyone's journey will be different in relation to the dose they're on and how long they're on it because of those kind of things. I'd say the dose that I've had the least amount of weight loss from um, has probably was been on the 7.5
Okay.
dose.
That's quite,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, but then the thing is, everybody's body and biology will react differently to it as well. So like that's yeah, it all varies.
Yeah.
There's a lot of comments here, Belinda.
You
I'm
have a look
trying.
through them for a minute, actually, Paddy. But what I will say about my journey on Ozempic, like I would have lost all of that weight that I've just said I'd lost. I would have lost all of that in the first 7 months on Ozempic. For the first 6 months, I was taking it on my own. I was just getting it from an online doctor and stuff. And then
Yeah,
I joined Beyond BMI, and then my weight continued, but then it stopped.
yeah,
There is a theory, that your body has a set point,
yeah,
that it goes as far as it'll go. But since starting Mounjaro, I've lost 2.5 kg, I think. So it's moving, but it's moving slowly. I am in no
yeah,
hurry. If I lost another stone, I would be just delighted with life.
yeah,
I feel so healthy, so
yeah.
well, so fit and strong, more than I ever have done in my life. So
And that's the
that's the
important thing.
whole point of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things, is that like for a lot of us that have been in that kind of diet mindset all our life, we get so obsessed with the number on the scales that we can forget actually the bigger priority here has to be a health first approach, not
Longevity.
just exactly looking at longevity, looking at maybe your blood work with your doctors, also an opportunity. And if anyone has seen any of my videos, they'll know I'm a huge advocate that you need to be focusing on your nutrition and your movement as part of this journey, that this isn't a skinny jab that you just inject and the fat melts away. It's not a fat burner anyway.
Yeah.
um
Well, Paddy,
huh?
just another tool, and that's
Ju-
all it is.
exactly. It is
Yeah.
a tool along with the other things that you have at your disposal, like movement, like nutrition, like mental well-being,
I
to
know
help you.
I've heard you say it before, like you're on this health journey and you do this and you do that and this and that, and it's supported. All of that is just supported by
Absolutely.
GLP1,
Absolutely. Like the
Yeah.
way that I think about it is that for me, like having no more than yourself, and I know this is something you spoke about, Belinda, and this is where, so I'm going off on a little tangent, but
That's okay.
when you get, it's not like me, when you get some of the comments that are like, just go to the effing
Oh
gym, and I did a video on
my
this one,
God, yes.
and my kind of reply was, all these pictures of me in the gym, because
They
I'm
are.
a yeah, like for folks that don't know, I'm actually a qualified personal trainer as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
And so like I know the fitness thing inside out. I know nutrition inside out.
And you've been
I
killing
have
it in the gym, killing it.
I try.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like, I know what to do and I have done it, but I always relapse because my biology, my makeup is going against me.
Explain relapse.
So a relapse is I could have lost weight before, and then suddenly your body will just be like, nah, those old habits, you're not full, go eat. Oh, there's food there. Oh, is there food there? What are you going to have later? All this kind of stuff. And that idea of food noise that
It's so
some
real.
people find very, yeah, it's like if you haven't experienced it, it's hard to describe to somebody. But the way I verbalize it is it's like a radio in the back of my head, constantly talking about food that you cannot turn off. That's the way I talk about food noise. The medication has switched off that radio was no longer
And
playing.
I'll
So
never understand, even no matter how many people try to explain it to me, like professionals, I just don't understand how an actual drug can do that.
yeah,
It's crazy.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Instant.
Some other question. You're okay. Some other questions here. Can you stay on a lower dose? So we've touched on that. And reluctant to titrate up because of side effects. So what I'd say is, from my experience of Mounjaro, titrating up necessarily hasn't impacted the side effects. So if you haven't had side effects this far, a couple of things. If you're still getting that therapeutic response, i.e., you're not feeling as hungry, you're feeling fuller sooner, you're losing weight, then there's no real need to be rushing titrating up. So that's one thing. But if it's a case that you're finding, it's day 2, day 3, and actually you're noticing the hunger coming in, the food noise, all that, that is a sign that you probably do need to titrate up. But if you haven't had the side effects, don't worry about it too much. What I have kind of saw from the side effects as well is that this is anecdotal, this is not medical proven. But I believe in what I've saw and from speaking to people that a lot of the side effects can actually be caused as well by the nutrition that you're eating
Oh my,
and the lifestyle that you're having day to day. I don't
yeah,
know if you would have seen the same.
100%. Like, you do have to test the waters with this medication where your food is concerned. If you eat something and the medication in your body doesn't like it, your body will tell you immediately. So just don't eat that food again.
Yeah.
And I think as well, I had read it when I was looking into going on it. The worst combination of food that you can eat is fat and sugar together in a piece of food. Take for instance, cheesecake. It's got a lot of fat, a lot of butter, a lot of sugar in it, and that Ozempic and Mounjaro just don't like that kind of thing. So,
and the other, and this is a whole other conversation that you could spend hours on, but the problem, and I think cheesecake's probably a good example, it's so easy to
yeah,
eat that it becomes, that type of food becomes addictive for people, and then that's where you get into those bad behaviors as well of using it as a crutch or as a thing when you get those emotional things. So that's why when you're on the medication as well, it's so important that you are looking at what's your behaviors and relationship with food and yourself, and that you're working to understand them, you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
Um,
You really have to make an effort with it though, Paddy.
yeah,
You really, really do. Like, you are not going to be able to just take this drug and live your life exactly the same. You have to work with it.
mhm,
You just have to, you won't have a choice. But the thing is as well, what changes when you go onto this medication is the minute you start to feel good, the minute you start to lose weight, the minute you start to look well, you want to do it.
yeah,
You really do. Like, I mean, God, I'm in a Pilates class 3 times a week and aqua aerobics twice a week, and I'm walking the roads, and I would never have done that. Never in a million years, but I want to get out and I want to do it now,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things with me in the gym. So that's the way I feel about the gym, because I know that I'm in a good place in terms of the progress that I'm making, and that in turn is a knock-on effect then, well,
Yeah.
I want to eat right because I want to maintain it, and then I want to go and do the workouts. And the reason why, like, I'm so passionate about exercise, obviously my background being a qualified
Yeah.
personal trainer, but aside from that, is the reason I exercise is not actually to burn calories at all. The reason I exercise is that future Paddy down the road, 10, 15 years time, is going to be super grateful that
Yes.
I have focused on protecting the health of my joints, my bones, my muscles, particularly when you're in a period of rapid, above average, say, fat loss, whether that's through a medicated or non-medicated, whatever way it's happening, you will also typically
Me.
run the risk of losing a higher percentage of muscle. And you don't want to be losing your muscle, because the more muscle you have, the more energy your body will use day to day, i.e., and it'll help you
And again,
burn fat.
there's a lot of scaremongering around the GLP-1
Yeah.
medications with muscle loss and not
Yeah.
fat loss. And that is just myth.
Yeah.
All of it is myth. The exact same thing will happen if you're on a ketogenic diet, or if you're on a GLP-1,
Yeah.
or if you're on a different diet completely.
There is one of the medications that is in clinical trials at the moment. It's in parts of Europe, in Australia. I was listening to an interview with a woman in Australia. I think it's the retatrutide one that actually has a thing in it as well to try and protect muscle loss as well whilst you're on a journey. So that'll be an interesting one.
Is that the one with the tree?
It's 3 or 4, yeah. So there's one with 3 and there's one with 4, and one agonists, what we're saying, that's going to work with your body, but one of them specifically helps to protect muscle whilst you're losing fat loss.
I'd say that's the 4,
yeah,
because that's the newest one. The one that's got the 3 hormones in it. So Ozempic would have 1 hormone, Mounjaro would have 2 hormones, and then there's another one coming out, I think, a year and a half time. I think it's called Triple G. That's what they're calling it at the moment, because they don't have a brand name on it. There's 3 hormones in that, so 4 again. Woohoo!
Cool. So I'm going to flick through, see some more questions here. So Lisa is asking, hit my goal weight and I've started weaning down. So first of all, actually, let me go back. Lisa was on Ozempic for 8 months and lost 60 pounds. Well done. I had horrendous side effects and kept going. Have hit my goal weight and I've started weaning down. Any tips on maintenance?
I'm not there yet.
Yeah. Like, it's a tough one because
I've been flippant, you know. I haven't spoken to anybody that's on maintenance with it, but my thought around it is that, like, if you go, for us being on Mounjaro, and you get up to 15 milligrams and you are exactly where you want to be, I suppose the question is, do you stay at 15 milligrams or do you titrate down and see how you feel? And if you don't feel as good, then titrate up a little bit. Is that maybe how it's going to work?
Yeah, like what I've seen a couple of different things being. So some pharmacies in the UK have started maintenance programs.
Okay.
Because when Mounjaro came out in March, April time this year, it now means that there are some people that have hit either their goal weight or the top dose or stuff. So they've had to look at, okay, what are we doing here now? So what some of them are offering is things like either you step back down the doses if you want to try and wean off it. Some of them are offering that you try going down to a lower maintenance dose. Some of them are maybe talking about, do you take a dose, do you extend the amount of time?
Yeah. A shot over 10 days? Or,
yes.
Yeah.
Now, what I'd say is all of that is off-label. That is not the prescribing criteria from Eli Lilly that make it. So this is the pharmacies kind of using their medical insights and kind of patient care to try and come up with bespoke plans.
Did we know what Eli Lilly are saying about the maintenance?
So at the moment, it doesn't. I'm not aware of what they say in relation to maintenance specifically, but I know that there is new guidance meant to come out from NICE, who are the folks that give guidance on this type of medication and stuff like that. So there's an update due from them this quarter. That sounds very business talk, but towards the end of the year.
So good.
I know. Anytime now, we're expecting an update on what the kind of medical guidance is, kind of longer term.
Then if you are under your doctor's supervision while you're on this medication, that's the first person you should be asking, you know.
Are GPs prescribing it? So, Belinda, Ozempic.
Yes, but it's a tough get. I was refused it. I know about 12 people in real life that has been refused it who are chronically obese. Yeah. And their doctor won't prescribe it to them.
Yeah, Mounjaro, so we had this question earlier. Mounjaro is licensed in Europe. Yeah. It is licensed in Ireland. However, Eli Lilly have not made it available in Ireland yet. So what that means is any doctor in the Republic of Ireland can write a prescription for this. However, many think that they can't, because when they go to the prescribing health mail or the prescribing system, it won't show up there. So then they think, oh, well, then it's not licensed. So that's why I would say if anyone's going into the doctor to look for a prescription, bring in the documentation that you can find online from the European Medicines Agency that shows it is licensed in Ireland as well. You can bring that in, and also from the Irish kind of drug authority as well. You can show them it is licensed. So it is licensed, but it cannot be dispensed by any pharmacy in the Republic of Ireland. So that means that if your doctor is hopefully supportive still of you going on this type of medication, that once you explain, look, I have to get it from Northern Ireland, and that's something that you're willing to do, that they can write a prescription for that. You need the physical prescription. Yeah, physical prescription from them, and then you can bring it up to any pharmacy up the north. I'd say give them a call beforehand, because they need to order it in. It's not something to keep on the shelf, because it has to be kept chilled and it has an expiry date. But if your doctor is willing to support you, any doctor in the Republic of Ireland can write a prescription. Many won't, but many, they'd have the power to. But keep in mind, it can only then be dispensed by a pharmacy up the north, and any southern prescription can be brought up the north as well. Yeah. Let's see here. I've had no side effects on 1 milligram Ozempic, but while I was getting to the one, I did have some, as in diarrhea. That is gone now, normal now. Couldn't finish my food, which was great. A positive. If anyone is starting out, I'm in 6 weeks on Ozempic, 2 weeks on 0.5. No negative effects at all. No tummy issues. No headaches. No gastro. All working so well. Suppression free is mild. Brilliant. And I've had a very similar effect with Mounjaro. I've had minimal side effects at all. Like, I've had none of the sulfur burps that I've heard people talk about. I've not had any. And I feel I'm missing out.
You feel left out now, Paddy, don't you? FOMO.
But yeah, so again, the common ones, like feeling sick, I've not had that at all. Like in relation to like the kind of tummy stuff or bathroom, little bit like here or there, but nothing whatsoever worth worrying about. So I've been extremely lucky.
Started on, I think he's on his 7th week now of Ozempic, and he's had zero side effects as well.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Congrats to you both on your great communication. Thank you. On medically supported weight loss and your personal journey. Well done to you both. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We only do this. The only reason that we're here, or the only reason we keep banging on about it on Instagram and Paddy on TikTok, is because we feel so passionate about it, that this drug should be available to anybody suffering with obesity. Now, I don't mean it should be available to anybody that wants to lose 12 pounds. That's your, if you want to go on it to lose 12 pounds, do so. But we're here for the people that need it for obesity. And we're going to keep banging on about it until somebody stops us.
Some says, I think it's James, I lost 12 kilos on Ozempic on BMI, and I stopped seeing losses after 7 months, and had side effects from quite early on. I'm now on a low dose of Mounjaro for 12 weeks initially. Okay, cool. That'd be interesting to see how that works out.
Yeah.
Actually,
staying on the lower dose, is it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what you're saying. I'm now on a low dose Mounjaro for 12 weeks initially. Yeah. What was that like for you? If when you were on Ozempic and then you moved over to Mounjaro, I'm curious what that is like.
It was seamless.
Okay.
Yeah, just absolutely seamless for me now. And Paddy, I don't think I've spoken to. Actually, I do have a few girls in my subscribers channel. Are moving from Ozempic to Mounjaro, so I'll definitely get some feedback from them.
Yeah.
When the time comes.
So I put up a question box as well. Now, so there's questions coming in left, right, and centre. So I'm going to go through a quick fire round of some of the ones that I think I might be able to answer. I have the computer here behind me to try and get some of the questions as well. Did you have a lot of food-related challenges or side effects like nausea or loose bowels or such? I think we've touched on that. I had minimal side effects at all over the past 5-ish months.
Did start an Ozempic, but that was it.
Yeah. Can I take Mounjaro if I'm on cortisone? Talk to your doctor. Myself or Belinda or doctors. What I would say is when I did a look online, it indicated no because of the impact it has on blood sugars, but that is something that only your doctor can answer for you. My chemist has said they can't get any higher dose or any doses higher than 1 milligram off Ozempic in Ireland.
Well, there isn't any.
Yeah, that'd be right.
Just on the back of that as well, that there is a international shortage of the 0.25 milligram, the starting milligrams. So that's tough now as well.
My 1 milligram Ozempic doesn't seem to be working anymore. When will Ireland get the 2 milligram pen? So again, as I said, for Ozempic, there won't be. The only one that we can hope out for there would be the Wegovy that goes up to 2.4.
But you can, if your doctor will allow you to purchase another pen,
Yeah.
300 quid a month, off you go.
Yeah, not working there. Also said in 1 milligram dose of Wegovy felt like worked so well, no need to go up. Yeah, and that's the thing. I say if you're on a dose, don't feel you have to go up just because other people are, or
but if you're good on it and it's working and your hunger is suppressed and your food noise is switched off and you're feeling good, then just stick with it until something changes.
Yeah.
Because that will elongate your journey. It's just better for you. Yeah.
I started with BBMI on Wegovy and lost 1 stone in 6 weeks. Amazing. This was paired with strength and conditioning.
Brilliant.
Big fan of strength and conditioning. Pilates, yes. Which Belinda is a big fan of that. And protein focused healthy eating. The food noise reduction was a winning factor. Amazing. Love hearing that. Yeah. And actually, on the exercise thing, I'm going to talk about that for a sec, because when you're on this type of journey, whether it's medicated or not, any kind of fat loss journey, the best type of exercise you can do is strength-based exercise. For the reasons I mentioned before, in terms of protecting your muscles, your bones, your joints. So don't think that suddenly means you have to run into the gym and start lifting barbells and big heavy weights. If you can, brilliant, but you don't have to. Yeah. If you've done nothing at home before, I know sometimes the thought of exercise can be intimidating. That's why I always talk about movement, because movement looks very different for different people. So your starting thing could be that you just do some body weight squats at home a couple of times, throughout the day or something, and maybe some press ups against the wall, or maybe if you are.
Take a Pilates class.
Yeah, Pilates, exactly. Yeah. Or if you are in a gym but you're too self-conscious to go and do your own thing, that maybe you go and do something like a body pump class, which would be fantastic to get that kind of thing in. But I would say try and prioritize your strength-based training over your cardio-based training. Now, when I started out, for the first maybe 6-7 weeks, longer than I should have, I definitely was doing more cardio than I was weight-based training. And I was very aware of that. The reason why I did that was I wanted to get into the routine of exercising again. So I wanted to do something that I was more likely to stick at. So if you're thinking, do you know what, I'm not there yet to start the strength-based training, I will be in the future, I just want to get the foot in the door, find anything. Just start. Whatever you can do. As Belinda says, if that is out, walking the street, that sounds wrong, but if that's out...
Paddy, what did I tell you before we started?
If that's out walking the streets, or like doing a home workout, exercise, or whatever, do that. Yeah. Do whatever is the littlest thing that you can do to make a difference. Start with that. Yeah. Oh my God, so glad I joined, because everyone around me don't understand and makes it so hard.
Yeah.
Honestly,
and it is hard if you're the only person on it and you don't have support. It's so hard. No one to talk to. You've got so many questions.
Louise, I'm not sure if you're still in the chat, but I know some people can be sometimes a little bit afraid of putting things on public pages, but Belinda as well has a subscription type thing that's literally like less than a cup of coffee, like over a week, that is like her little community that she's building. So I'm not sure if you're in that or know about it, but check out Belinda's profile. That's like a little private space for Belinda's community.
And the girls, I think there's like 15 or 16 of us in it now, and they're thriving in there. They absolutely love it. And I get on there every single day and I do little lives. I send in little videos. I've always got some kind of motivation thing to kind of get them going. And they've got all their questions answered. And it's fun.
Every time I've had bad... every time I can't do subscribers or anything like that because I don't have the 10,000. I don't have 10,000. I'm not important enough to Meta.
Oh, I'm hitting 13 now, Paddy.
Send a few over to me. This is
crazy.
So, side note, this is where it's mental. I will put the same... I don't always put the exact same, but when I do put the same video up on Instagram versus TikTok is way better for me. Way better.
But do you know if I put anything up on TikTok, it goes flat. It just
It's
falls flat.
gas.
I gave up. I just
Like,
couldn't do it. It's mad.
one of the most successful videos is one I put up about 2 weeks ago about the biggest mistake people make when they're starting out. That video on TikTok is now at nearly 270,000 views, which is just crazy, like crazy.
Gosh. And do you know what my most popular video is over here on Instagram? Ozempic and colonoscopies.
We're not doing a live of that, Belinda. I told you.
But it's still going. There's people commenting on it every single day. It's like.
A reminder also that none of this conversation should be taken as medical advice for you. Before starting or changing any medical or wellness treatment, always consult your GP and medical care team.
Every time I've had bad side effects, it's been due to my diet. Yeah, that's my thoughts as well.
Yeah.
Can you stop a week if you're going on holiday? So the prescribing criteria is no, that you take it every week at the same time, the same day.
Yeah.
However, the prescribing criteria also includes, from Eli Lilly for Mounjaro, if you happen to miss a week and how many days you can go. So I would say, Michelle, don't overthink it too much. You know, equally what I'd say is if you're going on holiday and you're not somebody that typically gets too bad side effects or that, there's no reason to not take it. You can take it on a plane, there's no problem. But if it's a case you're like, oh, shite, I went away for a week and I forgot my pen, I wouldn't be losing sleep over it. You can
over it.
Yeah.
Just go straight back to where you were
Yeah.
before you went. But also the thing with that as well is, well, this is just me, my opinion, that like I'll be going on holidays for 10 days over to Turkey and I am not coming off that drug.
Yeah.
I'm not coming off for anything because this is the life that I want to live.
Yeah.
This is how I need to live in any situation.
Yeah.
You know, so I just need to, go with it.
Yeah. Okay, I need to go back here a bit now. La 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 la. Oh God, there's a lot more comments than I thought. Okay, getting through these. Hello from the Cayman Islands. I've been to the Cayman Islands.
Have you?
Yeah, I love my Royal Caribbean cruises.
Cayman Islands. Is that our furthest person away so far?
I think it could be. Grand Cayman. I've been to Grand Cayman. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. So, gonna run through some of these quickly, okay?
Yeah.
To just be able to eat or drink as normal. So, Michelle, what I'd say is...
What was the question?
It's about stopping when you're going on holidays. And the answer was just to be able to eat and drink as normal. So what I'd say is when you're on... Obviously, it's your choice what you do and what you want to enjoy on your holiday. You decide and you do that. Equally, what I'd say is normal for some people old habits? And if so, is that going to be supportive of your overall journey when we're trying to change habits around food?
How long will it take you to get out of those habits?
Yeah.
How far back will it push you?
Yeah.
I mean, that mindset that you got away from for me, it's so precious now. It's the precious thing that I have, that I work on every single day. So just think about those kind of questions, I think.
But Michelle, I say you do what you think will be supportive of you, because equally some people could be like, do you know what? I can manage this. I've done it before. If it's a thing that a holiday isn't something that would have traditionally caused you to relapse or to fall off the wagon, say, then that's what I'd say. Because different people have different triggers that have caused them to relapse and all that kind of stuff. So, you know you best. But I would say that idea of eat and drink as normal.
What's normal?
Maybe just think about what is normal for you. Who's a trusted supplier? Any registered pharmacy is the best answer there. Registered pharmacy, don't be getting it under the counter or anywhere. Is Saxenda the same as Ozempic? No, they're different medications, work very, very, very similarly. Saxenda is a daily dose. It's also a good bit more expensive.
A month?
Saxenda gets very, very dear. Yeah.
Also, it was one of the first, wasn't it, GLP1s?
Yeah, and that's the thing why a lot of people in Ireland will still be prescribed it, because it is readily available down here, and that, and if it's working for you and you're on it, there's no need to change as such.
But there is a criteria that you can fill to get it on the drugs payment scheme.
Mm-hmm.
You do it. Yeah.
What's your thoughts on the people saying it's linked to cancer? I've just started mine, lost 2 stone, but now I'm worried. So I know there's a bit of talk about this from the Mounjaro side of things anyway. I don't know if there's on Ozempic, but with where the talk of it is coming from is that if there is a history of specific cancers in your family, that can be an elevated flag for a prescriber. So
The risk may
that's
be higher.
yeah, so it's not to say that this is something that is out there saying that it's going to cause cancer. There is very similar guidance, say, for people that might has suffered from very bad depression and might have been on antidepressants. But again, that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't be prescribed it. It's more so a case that you might need a more thorough consultation or to have a better understanding of your condition with your prescriber, your doctor.
So full transparency, I'm on an antidepressant medication, I'm on Ozempic, and I'm on HRT as well. Yeah. And that is the sweet spot.
Yeah. So what I'd say there, Lizzie, is like every medication has risks, but the bigger thing, my risk of cancer from obesity is probably greater.
Very good point, Paddy. Very good point.
Yeah. So, so in terms of trusted people, so people have said Beyond BMI and My Best Weight. Yeah, they're two the weight management clinics. Lloyd's Pharmacy also have one. I think Lloyd's might only do Saxenda. I could be wrong. I don't know.
Lloyd's is it?
No, down south.
Oh, sorry. Saxenda. Yes.
I think. Now, somebody might correct me there on that one. Could I bring a prescription up north and maybe get 2 or 3 months supply at once, or is it limited? So usually if you're getting it from the pharmacy, they'll want to see you every month. Some will post it down though to you if you leave your prescription with them. In the UK, and now I have other issues with some of the prescribing in the UK though, which I'll touch on very briefly, and then you just get off my chest. Just briefly. So the TLDR is, I think that it's currently too easy to get it via an online pharmacy in the UK, because I've heard of people doing very underhand things to get it legitimately from an online pharmacy. And I'm expecting that there's probably going to be a lot more stringent regulation comes into UK pharmacies, which there badly needs to be.
Yeah, because it's been abused. It really is now.
Yeah.
I don't.
But some of the pharmacies in the UK do sell bundles, like off month 1, 2, and 3. But given that you're only meant to start the next dose when your pen is finished, kind of, if you get me, that's why you should really only get it. But as I say, for the person that asked that question, talk to your pharmacy if you're one up the north. I know Belinda has been in touch with Corrie's and some of the one.
Phenomenal.
And Belinda, do they post down south?
Yes, they do. Yeah.
Okay. Once you have been once you've got your prescription to them.
Once Paddy in Corrie's has your prescription, then they do post. Yeah.
Yeah. Sadly, people don't see obesity as a disease, but a matter of laziness or no giving enough effort. Yeah, absolutely. And I think for me, that's like when I started getting those messages at the start on my TikToks, I kind of thought, am I going to delete these? And I don't actually. I reply to them instead saying, you're wrong. And I would invite you to have a conversation one-on-one with me on camera if you want.
Yeah.
But please try and educate yourself better before you make these comments. That's kind of what I say to them. Because if you don't believe that obesity is a disease,
but the narrative is changing.
They are.
Slow. It's very slow, but it's changing. Yeah.
So starting tomorrow, not sure what I'm going to be prescribed, but for both of you, how quickly did you start seeing the results on the scale and close? So what I'd say with that, is
don't compare yourself to anybody. Comparison thief of happiness. Don't do it.
And
stay in your lane, do your own thing.
And don't go in with the mindset of how quickly is it going to work for me.
Yeah, because it's a long-term thing. It's not.
Yeah. And I get it. That's the diet mentality that we've lived with for so long. But what I'd say is, in terms of the positive side effects, typically on Mounjaro, what I'd say is that in terms of, like, say, dull food noise, appetite suppression, feeling fuller for longer, assuming that you're doing the other bits of the movement and the nutrition, I would say the majority of people that I've spoke with, it's been between 4 to 10 or 12 weeks when they start to see
about changes
in that kind of range. And that's not long.
like you were just saying, Paddy, you have to look at the other changes as well. You can't just look at your body. You have to look at the things like the food noise, having the mental space to make better decisions now, because your hunger isn't overriding every single thing,
Yeah.
every other thing in your
Yeah.
mind. And also what I'll just touch on it for a moment as well is emotional eating.
Yeah.
That's a huge part of my journey my whole life. It was a huge part of my relapsing, because anytime anything went wrong, like I'd say, I spoke about this today with my subscribers. So today I would have had a really bad day, really hard day, lots of things going on with the kids and schools and all the rest of it. And I was in the car and I was driving to a therapist appointment, and I just sat with myself, and I could feel my anxiety coming in. And I just thought to myself, do you know what? If this was 2 years ago, I would be sat here with a share bag of crisps, a thing of Ben and Jerry's, full fat Coke, and probably a sandwich as well.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't have even entered my mind today.
Yeah.
You know?
I just want to do a call out as well, because I know there could be some people here that want to ask a question but don't want to ask it publicly. So what I'd say is, I have my DMs open on the computer here behind me. So if you want me to answer a question but you don't put your name to it here, if you want to drop me a DM on my profile, and I will answer it, or we'll answer it here for you without saying your name. Okay, so if you do want to ask a question that hasn't been covered, but you don't want your name or anything coming up on screen about asking a question, drop me a message into my DMs, and we'll get that answered for you. Why did you switch from one brand to another? Did you have a weight loss freeze? So Belinda, I'll let you take that one.
So I would have stalled after, I can't even remember, did I say it earlier? I lost most of my weight in the first 7 months, and then I stalled and I stalled and I stalled. And then my doctor, actually, Paddy, you were the one that said that I should change to Mounjaro, and I did.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I'm not Belinda's doctor.
No.
Just
well,
counselor at times, maybe.
Not really.
As she is mine. Somebody, lovely comment here for you. Mary says Belinda's community is amazing. We love her.
Oh, Mary, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yay.
So there you go.
Oh,
could you give us an idea of the cost of Ozempic?
Yeah, so Ozempic can go up to anything from 134 up to 160 in any given chemist in Ireland.
Cool.
If not more.
Yeah, and Mounjaro typically starts, again, give or take, at about £140, and the highest dose is in and around £180. So usually you'll step up, like my price increased every 2 strengths. So 2.5 and 5 were 140.
Yeah.
7.5 and 10 were 160, and then 12.5 and 15 were 180. So pounds. We have somebody from Australia as well. Just we were asking there where are people from. Why did Belinda change from Ozempic? I think we've covered that. I'm from Canada. Oh, I love Canada. I was in Banff last year. The most amazing place in the world.
Anywhere you haven't been.
The kitchen to tidy up. I'm from Canada on my 4th shot of 0.5, and I still feel constipated. Other than that, the noise is gone. I'm not hungry.
Fiber. Eat your kiwis, get your chia seeds, get your flax seeds, eat your pears every single day. In fact, DM me and I will give you a recipe.
Someone asks, where can we get it if GPs won't prescribe it? So a couple of things here that I'll touch on is, if your GP won't prescribe it, is there a medical reason why? If so, don't try and play the system. If you're not eligible, you're not eligible. If it's a case though that your doctor is like, oh, Mounjaro, say, isn't available in the Republic of Ireland, or blah blah blah, you can try a different doctor. You can try a weight management clinic up the north. You can also try a weight management clinic down south, such as the Lloyd's one, the My Best Weight one, the Beyond the BMI one. All of those, well, sorry, Lloyd's one doesn't do Mounjaro as far as I know, sorry.
Yeah.
But I think My Best Weight and Beyond BMI do Mounjaro, the prescription for it. Somebody was refused Saxenda because it only met one of the requirements of obesity. I lost 2.5 stone getting prescription. Okay, so they're basically wondering about if GPs down here will start prescribing Mounjaro in the future. Hopefully, yeah. Like I've been in touch with Eli Lilly. I actually wreck their heads every so often. I send them loads of emails, and
They're good at
eventually,
responding, though, aren't they? Are they?
yeah, eventually, like eventually they do. I think they're probably like, here I'm probably on some list with them. But I think it's important that they're,
Hit list.
yeah, that that they are responding to people. Um, but yeah, so I'm just going to look through here some of the questions that we had. And again, if you have a question that you want answered, but you don't want your name popping up, that's no problem. Just drop me a DM. I have them open here. I have another one that's just after coming in. I pay 300 a month for Saxenda. The price is killing me, but I'm afraid to stop it in case I put the weight back on again that I've lost. Yeah, and this is, I think, comes down to, I know from my perspective, I have accepted that I'm on Mounjaro or a future iteration of one of these medications, probably for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And I made peace with that, or made comfort with that, before I started on this journey. Hey, I don't want this publicly, but I was wondering, does it stop binge eating? So,
Great question.
binge eating is obviously a deeply complex condition.
Filling it in you.
Yeah. What causes it, the emotion that you have with it. So what I'd say is, for somebody that is suffering from binge eating, your first port of call should be, I would say, and Belinda, you might have a different opinion here, but my thing would be that I would love you to reach out to somebody that is a specialist in CBT, essentially a therapist that specializes in disordered eating, because binge eating a lot of the times can be linked to psychological things, which in turn then can manifest in physical things.
Yeah.
But
now,
so
the only thing I will say about that is, like, it will, or it could help the
want for food.
But,
yeah,
but also the longing to binge, the reasons why you would binge will still be there. Those things don't disappear just because you're injecting yourself with Mounjaro or Ozempic, you know. So
that's why I'd say I would really love, I say, to kind of the expert, to kind of, the first stepping stone on that, I'd say, is trying to reach out to a therapist that specializes in binge eating, and particularly,
and maybe do some work on that,
yeah,
and then see where you can go from there.
And a lot of prescribers will actually ask you specifically if you're suffering with binge eating or another form of disordered eating, so they will.
Yeah, they will. Yeah, if they're any good.
Yeah.
If and they want the best for you, they will ask those questions.
Yeah. Does the sickness ever go away? So, as I say, I've not had any sickness on Mounjaro.
And I'm on it 2 years. I've done tirzepatide as well. I forgot to mention that.
No, I've not. Now, what I would say is, worst medication I've ever probably been on in terms of this type of thing, Orlistat, Xenical.
Orlistat was the worst.
Oh my God.
But that's what it was meant to do.
I know.
You know, awful.
But
like, they're still prescribing it,
I
Paddy.
know. It's like, I've been on Orlistat so many times. I remember one time when I lived in England, I went to the doctor and I actually plucked up the courage to go and be like, I want to talk about my weight. And what they said to me was, the only thing, now this was before this type of medication, but instantly, before anything else, the first thing they said was, the only thing I'll prescribe for you is bariatric surgery. Not
severe.
Not even let's get you to a therapist, let's get you to a dietitian, let's do a GP referral to a gym, let's even try Orlistat or something like that. It was, let's
going to a doctor is then an advocate for yourself that you wanted and needed help, and that's where they were sending you. Wow.
So someone else, after asking in the DMs, just wondering, do you get your prescription through from Northern Ireland, and is it from your own GP? Also, did you try the other medications, including the pill version? So I said the other ones that were available in Ireland, at least for obesity, are predominantly the Orlistat, Xenical. I said there's a few other ones being used off label, like Ozempic has been for a good while. The only other medication I have tried has been the Orlistat, Xenical. That's the only other one I have tried. I've not tried any other type. So yeah, in terms of the prescription, so if your doctor, if your own doctor is willing to write you a prescription, a physical prescription, it has to be the piece of paper. It can't be
Yeah.
electronic. Um, so if they're willing to write you a physical prescription that you can bring up or send to the pharmacy up the north, spot on. If it's the case that your doctor is supportive of you trying this medication but won't write Mounjaro, that's then where you could look at, as I say, there's two other options. One is joining a obesity management clinic specialist down here, like we're saying there's Beyond BMI and there's My Best Weight, or depending on where you're living, if you live somewhere along the border as well, there is the weight management clinics in the pharmacy. So the way that they work is, and I kind of like, I think they're a good starting point for people because you get that little bit of extra support than if your own, there's the potential, sorry, if your own GP is writing you your prescription, that you just get your medication and you go, and you get very little other support. And I think when you're starting out, that multidisciplinary approach is so important in terms of trying to help you with your nutrition and mindset and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes you might not get that from your GP because they're not going to be an expert in all that, and they mightn't do a referral for a dietitian or a therapist. And if they do, you could be waiting months or years. So if you were to join a weight loss clinic in a pharmacy in the north, usually what will happen there is that they will prescribe you the medication as well. They will add a cost on top of that, which is fair enough because they're covering the cost of the prescription and they're providing you with extra check-ins and that. So what I've seen is that the starting dose for Mounjaro, which is the 2.5 milligram, in a weight loss management clinic in a pharmacy is in and around £220.
Okay.
So that includes, yeah, so that includes your prescription, your medication, that includes your check-ins with them weighing you, potentially them checking your blood pressures.
What does the check-in look like? Is there any kind of, let us know what that looks like.
It could be like that they, I say, will weigh you, they'll check if you're having side effects, they'll maybe get you to a food diary, they'll like talk to you about movement, stuff like that. So they'll talk from a more general perspective, unless there's somebody in-house that is an expert. Some of those, it will be a bit more general than if you had the exact professionals as such kind of doing it for you. But it is still something that offers a bit more support than just getting a prescription and going and kind of going solo. So I think the worst thing that you can do in this type of medication is get a prescription and go solo and have no support around you when you're starting out.
Which is what I did. I did that for the first 6 months of my journey, and I was literally fiddling around in the dark for 6 months. And I was fortunate enough to find Beyond BMI, and then I had all of the therapies and everything I needed from them, and they write my prescriptions for me.
And the same with, and sorry, this is what I'm saying. This is why I have a bit of an issue with the way the UK is prescribing at the moment, because it's so easy for someone just to get a prescription and go, and they've no oversight, they've no check-ins. It's crazy.
Also, Paddy, when you think about the people that are out there suffering with bulimia, anorexia, and they look at something like this drug and think that's their way out now, that's going to be the easy way for them. I took part in a documentary, I think it was last year and a half ago maybe, and it literally was the dark side and the positive side of Ozempic, and my God, there is a dark side. And it's going to get worse over in the UK if they don't do something about the way that it
absolutely. And I can already see it.
And it's worrying.
Some of the pharmacies, the more responsible ones, are like, oh, we have to change this, we have to change that, because we think there's going to be but it does worry me at the moment. In relation to the obesity clinics down here, none of them supply the medication. They prescribe for it, and they typically will help you source it. Because again, nowhere down south for Mounjaro, nowhere down south will dispense it. So we can't.
Now there is tirzepatide. I got tirzepatide.
So tirzepatide is Mounjaro.
Trulicity.
Trulicity.
Was it
There's
Trulicity?
Trulicity.
Okay, well I'll have to fact check myself later, but you're probably right.
Trulicity. I'm nearly sure Trulicity is available.
Tirzepatide is
Mounjaro.
Is Mounjaro. What am I talking about? It was Trulicity. Yeah, that was the other thing.
Yeah, Trulicity. Yeah. So that was the
I might as well have talked to out the window.
Yeah,
it was no good.
I have another comment here. Switch from Saxenda to Mounjaro, 8th week and the last dose of 5 milligram. Very little weight loss and the food noise is back. So I'm excited to move up to 7.5. I'm guessing, I'm doubting if it'll work at all for me. And I think that's very fair. Particularly if you've moved from Saxenda and you're, trying to see what can happen. So I guess a couple of things on this. If somebody has lost a good bit of weight already, it typically will get slower. The less you have to lose, the kind of more difficult it can become to lose weight. But also, as I say, on the video that I put up about the biggest mistake people make when starting out, and that more so in that initial 4 weeks, I was blown away by the amount of people that said, oh, when they got to 5, when they got to 7.5, or some even when they got to 10 milligram, how it just kicked in for them. So the biology can be very different for different people. But equally, and this is where there are people, there are people that can be fast responders, slow responders, and then there's some people that it won't work for.
Yeah. And they're out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's why I guess there is the different types of medications that can be tried and different approaches and stuff like that. I think this is where, again, a lot of people will come to me like, oh, like, I'm 4 weeks in, I haven't lost anything. And I'm like, okay, so talk to me about what have you changed about your movement, or what do you do movement wise, or what do you do nutrition wise, or stuff like that, because it'll always come back to primarily nutrition. What is your nutrition? What's your protein intake? What's your fiber in particular? Those two, and then how are you supporting that with movement to see is there an opportunity there. But if it's a case that you're like 4 months in and you've not responded at all to the medication, then that go to your doctor, have a talk, enter a review. But what I would say is, if you've been on 2.5 or 5 and you were getting the food noise suppressed, that would indicate that it is working somewhat. You
just need to look at the other things then as well.
Yeah. I got a prescription for Ozempic but can't find it anywhere. Yeah, it is a case of a lot of ringing around.
Yeah, I think my max was 26 chemist one Saturday morning.
And for that person, I don't know where you're living, but potentially don't rule out the north as well.
Yeah, as well. If you have your prescription, they'll send it down to you. Corrie's, Paddy, they'll send it down.
So that is another option there as well. I'm just going to see here if there's any other. Belinda, do you feel Mounjaro has less side effects than Ozempic?
I had side effects when I first started Ozempic, and then when I changed to Mounjaro, it was seamless. I had no side effects at all. And I feel that Mounjaro is working better for me, where the appetite suppression, where the food noise is, where the emotional eating is. It definitely works better than Ozempic. Yeah.
I'm just trying to look here to see, did our reel go up? The last one hasn't yet. Sorry, I'm just looking here. So I was trying to think what else. So what we touched on food types and stuff like that. What are some of your kind of go-to foods?
Mine. I eat, I drink a fiber shake, a protein and fiber shake most mornings. That's literally just trying to get in as much fiber as I can. It's got protein in it, powder, it's got all the good things. I have a recipe, DM me, I'll send it to you. And then, honestly, it's just a protein and vegetables and or rice or noodles in the evening. I don't think about food anymore as a kind of a massive satisfaction thing. I think about my food in terms of what it's going to do for me. Mm-hmm. How full is it going to keep me? I've never looked at nutrition like that in my life. And again, that stems from dreadful education in those slimming rooms for 30 odd years. I was taught nothing about the nutritional side of food at all. I was just told, do not eat this, eat that, nothing else in between. So
for folks that are on Ozempic that maybe have people around them saying you shouldn't be on that's only for diabetics.
Yeah, that's a tough one, isn't it?
What's your advice?
Who gets to say which disease or which person is more deserving of a drug? And if they can answer that question, well, fair dues to them, because I don't think there is a right answer to that. Somebody it's just such a minefield out there at the moment, Paddy, you know. But again, we will all eventually move away from Ozempic and then they can have it. I know that's so petty, but
like the thing that I do say is, let's not pit diseases against each other.
Yeah.
Like, somebody that has lived with the disease of chronic obesity is no less deserving to have a long, healthy life than somebody who's living with diabetes. And
to try and talk to those people and try and tell them that, you know, and obesity is a disease, you know, that's and it's such a new you know, train of thought. Like,
I had someone recently with type 2 and who was had weight challenges as well, but they were coming from the perspective of diabetes particularly, and they didn't like the fact that I reminded them that the lifestyle factors that influence obesity are pretty much the exact same lifestyle factors that influence type 2 diabetes.
100%.
And sometimes people don't like that more kind
You're so right, Paddy.
Somebody said hair loss, is this an issue? I can talk from the Mounjaro side. I don't know if it's the same on the Ozempic. So hair loss, I've not experienced it. The people that I have seen experience it have usually not been getting high enough protein intake.
Yeah. Well, they're not looking after their nutrition.
Yeah. So again, a lot of the things can kind of be linked back to some of the nutritional side.
But again, that's something to talk to your doctor about as well.
Yeah.
You know?
Because again, even with the side effects, if you are getting some, a lot of them can still be managed. So like if you are getting upset stomach or that, usually their doctor can help you with something there. If it's constipation, diarrhea, usually there's something that can be done to help you there. So like, you know, any of this kind of stuff, don't let it be, you know, stop you
don't let it put you off. Work through it, find the answer.
I hear from more people that have mild to minimal side effects as I do from people that have severe side effects. So like it's not common that I hear from people with severe side effects.
It's rare I hear that as well.
But they'll be the ones that will go viral online because people just love because people love watching them and just like all that kind of stuff.
Drama, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Folks, is just going to do another call out if you have any other questions you would like to ask. Someone mentioned psyllium husks. They're amazing. For fiber.
That's supposed to be really good. I haven't tried it. Is that better than the flaxseed and the chia seed?
It'd be similar. Right. Similar. They'd both be quite high fiber, so they would. Yeah. They'd be similar. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
fiber at the moment.
I was just thinking today, I was on the way home in the car and I was like, I'd love some Weetabix.
I've never thought that.
I know. But actually, if this again is not the medical solution for this, right, at all, but I think people that know will know. If you find that maybe you need a little bit of help with going, shall we say, Lidl do sugar-free sweets, the little pouches off them.
God, yes. Forgot about
those. They are just as good.
Those before. Oh my God, yeah, they're for diabetics. They're
just as good as Senecot or Dulcolax or any of those things, and they're a bit tastier. And they're not that high in calories. Oh my God. They'll have you cleared out in no time.
God, yeah. But Paddy, do you know that's like when I talk about constipation and stuff like that, it's the most questions I get. It's the most DMs I get asked because it can be severely chronic, like really bad, you know? It's horrible. It's horrible.
What are the side effects that aren't extreme? So the most typical ones could be, usually they're gastro related, like due to your digestion and your tummy, because the way both medications work is they slow down digestive emptying, which means that the food is sitting in your body longer. So that makes you feel fuller for longer. But then as a result of that, depending on the food that you've eaten, that can cause like the constipation or the diarrhea. Also, your hydration level can have a big impact on that, which is why some people will have the
side of things.
What's the mind blank? The electrolytes. Electrolytes.
sitting here drinking them.
Some people take electrolytes to help like with the hydration. Now, my own take, and this is probably the personal trainer hat on as well, is that if you're getting enough water in and you're getting enough nutrition in, that you shouldn't really need the electrolytes unless you're doing a lot of exercise or running or stuff that absolutely get
Where
them
you're
in.
sweating a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. What about injection sites? Great question.
Oh yeah, that's quite a common thing as well,
So,
isn't it? Yeah.
some say arm is better. So over the last 3 weeks, I've done arm, tummy, and thigh. My
Oh
usual go-to is tummy always because
yeah.
there's a lot of it to go around.
Yeah.
But
It's a little bit
yeah,
softer.
it's easier to get. But so, have you tried any different sites?
I tried my thigh, but I got a huge
Okay.
bruise and I just gave up. It didn't make me feel any
Yeah.
different.
So,
Yeah.
like, I felt no different whatsoever from any of the sites. What I would say is the thigh I found a little more convenient because I was sitting down and I could just do it. The arm, I felt it like that skin there is normally a little bit more sensitive or tender.
Yeah.
So I found the prick a little more in my arm, so I did.
All right, Paddy, calm down.
But I never had an issue with the little prick any weeks before. That's what I'll say. So no difference whatsoever for either of us based on the sites. Yeah.
Well said.
Thank you. Way with words.
Well done.
Do either of you remember how you felt in those first few weeks? I've just started
yeah.
week 2 of Ozempic.
Yeah. Yeah. Go on. You go. You go with Mounjaro.
Yeah. So I say for me, because I was a fast responder, that is not the norm, and I want to stress that again. You should not expect to feel the positive impact within the first few weeks necessarily. I did. I was one of the small few that did. But the main thing for me was definitely for that first 2 or 3 weeks, I kept second guessing myself about
Am I
hungry, or as I was saying earlier, is this a placebo that I'm not hungry? And it was a great experience though in terms of actually understanding physical hunger and physical fullness as opposed to behavioral hunger and lack of fullness. So those first few weeks was great for me to actually, and I still do it. I let myself get to a point sometimes where I get the tummy rumbles because I'm like, oh, I'm physically hungry, and that's what it feels like as a reminder of what physical.
You would have to let yourself go a long way to feel that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You'd have to go like maybe 12. You could go 12 hours.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what I will say about going from Ozempic to Mounjaro, when I changed, and it took about 2 days, and it was like night and day, the effects that Mounjaro had compared to Ozempic, it's night and day. That I couldn't explain it. I can't even explain it, how different it was and how soothing it was and how well it worked so much better than Ozempic. Yeah. And I don't mean that in weight loss. I mean that in the effects, the other positive effects that I would have felt.
Someone asked there, where is it recommended to inject on the arm? So the back of your arm here.
Yeah.
Back of your arm. So I did it by myself. I felt like a bit of a contortionist though, trying to do it. I've seen some people get someone to help them, but the back of your arm, like the kind of fatty bit of most people's arm there. Yeah. And just to give a wee shout out again, folks, if you do want to ask a question, but you don't want your name to come up here, you can DM me on Instagram and I will read out your message or your question without mentioning your name or anything whatsoever like that. Okay. So feel free to go to my profile, send me a wee DM with your question or whatever you'd like us to talk about.
Paddy, I'll just ask you a quick question then. How do you find your tolerance for alcohol on Mounjaro?
Yeah, great question. So I have found alcohol has not impacted me at all.
So you can drink like the same amount that you would before?
Like I wouldn't have been a big drinker anyway, but like when I went to Electric Picnic, for example, why the back of the arm and not the tummy or the thigh? So you can do the tummy and the thigh as well. Somebody had just asked, I don't know, was it you that asked that as well?
Paddy was just around.
Yeah, it's just
to just
personal
see
preference. Some people
yeah,
might just have personal preferences on where they inject. So, and you're it's recommended you rotate around whichever sites you use, but it's totally personal preference. As I say, neither of us have kind of felt any difference. But in terms of the alcohol, when I went to Electric Picnic, I was there, I was having my cocktails, having my gin, stuff like that. So I definitely would find that
you're
there was
no difference.
no real different, no negative effect, no nothing like that. I was a bit worried because I was thinking, oh, food is sitting longer. Is alcohol going to sit longer in me?
Yeah. All right, I never thought
Yeah,
about it like
but
that. Yeah. The only thing I will say about alcohol and GLP-1 is just make sure your tummy is full before you go anywhere, because I had serious adverse effects when I started first, because I was forgetting to eat and I thought I was great and I was drinking my bottle of wine out in the garden, and then bang, just
yeah,
yeah, the world went dark. Like
yeah.
yeah,
Cool.
date.
And I just want to give another wee shout out to Belinda's community, because she probably won't, because she's very modest. But so Belinda has, because she's very important on Instagram and has more than, well, I said 10,000, but she reminded me, no, Paddy, 13 nearly
It's
actually.
13 now, thank you.
Yeah, Belinda is able to have subscribers on her profile. So what that means is, for a few euro, you get like a private community with Belinda and with people that's in a private space that nobody else can see. Only the people that are in that private space that are all on this similar kind of journey and stuff as well. So check that out on Belinda's page.
Paddy.
If you're looking, no, it's important. Like, support local business.
Yes.
But
we have a goal.
Yeah. But I'm just gonna see if we have any more questions here on the Insta. Yeah, so I know on the Mounjaro, like if somebody was feeling a lot of nausea on a particular dose, that's where I'd be saying go back to your prescriber to see, actually, do you need to maybe lessen that dose a little bit again?
Yeah.
Cool. So I think we're all caught up on the questions here. Just going to do a refresh.
Well, this was brilliant though, Paddy.
Yeah, we'll need to know for next time. Like, we peaked there at, I think, about 100. But I think, yeah.
But you're going to save this, aren't you?
Yes. So that's
can you save the last one?
that's, I'm hoping. Like, I shared it to my profile. The video isn't shown, so I don't know if it's processing. It's shown as being there, but I'm gonna, if it's there,
okay,
it should be possible to do. Because it is showing.
We can do this on TikTok as well, sure, can't we? We'll do this one on TikTok then.
Yeah. So I'll suss out that. So again, I don't know if something went wrong with that first one, why it cut us off after there.
Or
What did I just see here? How long can you go live for on Instagram Live? So it says 4 hours. Oh. Okay.
If
4 hours if you make sure that your account is set to creator and not personal or business. So that's something we need to check. There's a question in there. If I reduce my dose, can I still lose weight? The Mounjaro, anyway, the dose itself does not necessarily relate to weight loss. So it's
a personal preference. If you think you can go down and still get the same effect, then talk to your doctor.
Thanks for the live. Really enjoyed it. Thank you both. But yeah, folks, if we'll give it like another minute or two, if there's any other comments you want to put in or any feedback for us or anything at all like that, would be very, very welcome. I say it's the first time we've ever done this at all.
Do it again, definitely. Yeah.
Thank you for this. You're great. We're a great team.
We are, Paddy.
Thank you.
We are.
That's someone said. Thank you.
Bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. Really appreciate that. I say it's the first time we've gone live, so we weren't really sure how it was going to work, even technology wise.
Happy to the rescue.
Oh God, enough of that. But what I'd say, folks, as well is, I say Belinda has her community. Belinda also, I know, is very responsive to messages and everything as well. Same myself. I reply to every single DM and message I get. Every single one. I literally.
You go over and above.
Well,
we really do. I think because of your background as well,
Yeah. And I guess
your personal trainer, and
Yeah, will we do this weekly? Well, we'll see how we get on after this one, if we can get the videos all up and sorted, and
yeah,
we'll definitely look at doing another one soon
yeah.
again, and maybe think of different themes or topics, or I don't know, or maybe just YOLO it, like,
Just see how it goes.
yeah.
Yeah.
But any final words of wisdom for people, Belinda?
If you are wondering whether to start, just do it. Stop wondering, stop thinking about it, stop overthinking, just do it. Just do it. Because I get that question all the time. I have the medication, I'm just so nervous. Just do it. Just do it. It's been the most life-changing thing that's ever happened to me, ever, and it's changed every aspect of my life for the better.
Yeah.
And Paddy, you?
I would say you deserve to prioritize yourself, to give yourself the best chance of a good quality of life.
Yeah.
And that can be different or difficult, particularly if you have work or family commitments that are pulling on you and stuff like that.
Every which way.
But this is your life as well as all those other people's, and you deserve the chance at longevity. So never feel guilty about prioritizing you. And as I always say in my videos, that like, and I really believe this, that like your weight, your shape, nor your size, none of that determines your value or worth as a human or as a person. And never let anyone make you feel any lesser because of your weight, because so many people will try to, and that's usually more an insecurity thing on their part. You can be such an amazing human being, no matter what your weight is, no matter what your shape is, your size, none of that matters in terms of your value as a person.
And it does matter when you're in it.
Absolutely. And
it matters when you're in it, but you know what? This is the first time in history, in the history of the world, that we've been able to advocate for ourselves, to have the courage, go into your doctor and advocate for yourself, stand up for yourself. You deserve this.
And be realistic with your expectations, and keep in mind it's so important that you're focusing on predominantly your nutrition and supporting that with your movement as well. As Belinda said earlier, the injection is a tool in your support box of helping you lose weight. You have to focus on your nutrition, on your movement, and on your overall kind of relationship with yourself and your food as well whilst you're on this journey.
Yeah. Well said, Paddy.
Cool. Well, folks, thank you very much. Belinda, thank you very much.
Thank you, Paddy.
Well done us. We got it done.
And thanks everybody for joining.
Yeah, okay, folks. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye.
A reminder also that none of this conversation should be taken as medical advice for you. Before starting or changing any medical or wellness treatment, always consult your GP and medical care team.